So, hello everybody, 50 pips here, 15th of November 2015. No trade calls, no recommendations. Everybody responds for their own stuff. We're here for educational purposes only, and the fact that you're listening to this means that you've read, you understand, you accept all the disclaimers on the blog. Now, I'm not going to lie, I didn't really feel like doing the update today after what happened this weekend. Um, on one side, it didn't really seem, or it doesn't seem appropriate. On the other side, I know a lot of people are waiting for these updates. A lot of people also just wondering what's going to happen at the Open. So, since we always say in the pit, come rain, come shine, right? I thought I'd still do the update, even though not really in a great mood to be too expansive and go into too much detail on these charts. So we're going to keep it brief. Now, the first thing I'd like to say is, apart from, of course, condolences to everybody involved in a rather unfortunate, to say the least, event this weekend. Really, don't try and be a hero on the Open. Don't try and chase moves. It's very difficult to understand how the market is going to react. Now, of course, the market's going to be already, we closed. We were going to close, right? The market was already on knife's edge on Friday. So we have a lot of pairs. We have the ES equities at very extreme levels. So on top of that, with what happened over the weekend, we'd likely going to see some some fear off, some risk off into the Open. What one would expect to see is to see some pressure on the equities early on. They already had pressure on Friday before. The other thing you'd expect to see is you'd expect to see a bit of a bid tone coming in on some of the risk off currencies. So you'd expect to see JPY catch a bit of a bid. You'd expect to see CHF catch a bit of a bid. Now, of course, it's going to be a bit tricky on Euro because you've got a lot of people having to, using Euro's carry, so having to unwind some equity positions. So you could see Euro squeeze a little bit. Bottom line, it's going to be tricky. There's no point trying to be a hero. Nobody knows how the market's really going to react. It's going to be a long week. We've got a lot of stuff coming out, right? So on top of it, the market's going to have to digest, this whole geopolitical situation. We've got a lot of data coming out. We've got Draghi speaking on Monday. We've got data out of Canada and US. On Tuesday, we've got monetary policy out of Australia. We've got inflation out of New Zealand. We got the CPIs, which are going to be really important, out of the UK. We got ZEW out of Germany. We've got the CPIs out of the US. We got another dairy trade index out of New Zealand. Then Wednesday, we got those FOMC minutes. On Thursday, we've got more stuff. We got a BOJ press conference. We got retail sales out of UK. We got unemployment claims out of the US. On Friday, we got Draghi speaking. We got CPI out of Canada. So again, things are shaping up to most likely see a pretty volatile week ahead. So just be very cautious in terms of where we are. Of course, gold's going to be, we'll have to see what happens on gold. Key level right here into these lows, right? So we'll have to see what happens, but basically, the market's really going to be focused on how we trade here. Hold above, below those lows from last week. That's the only thing that really matters. You can look at the past outlook that we discussed gold in detail. Cable, last week we discussed about the fact that there were essentially three levels to watch, and there is some method to the madness. We opened up in the mid-level and we said, watch on how we behave here. Above, below is going to be the bull bear line. We never closed below and we went right back into the next pivotal level. So fairly classic action. We got a lot of resistance ahead here, and this is going to be the support below, but again, a lot of uncertainty into this Open. You'd expect to see some weakness coming in on Euro JPY. So again, the focus will likely be all around these lows. Are they going to hold or no? You'd expect to see a little attempt lower, and then it's all going to be about follow through. These are the two key levels in terms of bull bear lines for follow through or not after we get through the Open and opening flows. Kiwi, again, it looks like it's giving a pretty good stab at holding this 6500. So it's all about this level. We could see some wheeling and dealing into the Open, but as long as we keep on holding above here, all things being equal, we would expect to see some kind of a move back higher unless it really lets go daily closes below that 65, we'd expect it to be fairly heavy, but the 65 mark is going to be the pivotal zone. Euro GBP, again, still stuck in this broader zone on the monthly. We think that all things being equal, also because of that, Brexit talk and everything, everybody being on this position, especially if equities start to hold a very heavy tone. This is probably one of the charts where we think this could squeeze. There's the highest potential for some kind of squeeze to catch people off guard. In terms of euro, no big change. We're still stuck. This 0800 is going to be the pivotal level. This is exactly where we were last week, so nothing's really changed on euro. No need to go back into that. ES, we were talking about the fact that we were tactically looking for shorts below those 2073s. We expected heavy back into the 2000, and that's pretty much the way it played out, right? Very aggressive move lower. If you look at it here on the chart, we talked about going into the week really that we were keeping an eye on daily closes above or below the 2100, and then failure below, we're looking at the 2050s, and we said, if we can't catch a bid below that, hold below, 2000s of track. So right here, especially what's happened over the weekend and how this closed, we'd expect that, going into the week, that 2000 will likely get tested, and that's going to be the bull bear line going into the rest of the week. Again, a lot of caution this week, please. Aussie, all about that 50 DMA. We discussed about how it was going to behave around this area. It looks like it's holding. We're getting a lot of wheeling and dealing. The shorts had a lot of a chance to sell this, but and it does look like they are keeping pressure on, right? You can see that downward channel pressure on, but here it just looks like it's slowly but surely holding bids there, and especially if we get a little squeeze on some of the things, commodities catch a little bit of a bid, don't be surprised to see this trying to press a little bit higher, but this is basically going to be the bull bear line. What exactly where we were last week, not a lot has changed there. In terms of yen, again, what you would expect with over recent events, you'd expect it to catch a bid, so we'd still be thinking that slowly this will be trying to move and make its way back into the 22 mark, and that will be the pivotal level either for another bounce or a continuation lower going into that 120, but 122 being a bit of a magnet here going into the open. CAD still holding at those highs, not an awful lot happening. Germany played out quite nicely, actually. We're looking for that move all the way back into that descending trend line, chance to sell into that right here with a pivotal level. If this can catch a bid early, then you'd expect us to go lower. If this holds heavy, then we would expect it to try and make its way all the way back down into this level here, all the way into the 10-200s kind of level. So again, tricky, really at a bull bear zone here. It's going to be interesting to see how this trades. Crude, again, it's a tricky call into the open, but as long as it holds below those 43s, those 42.80s, likely heavy, potentially coming right back down into those lows, I'd expect to see an awful lot of wheeling and dealing and an awful lot of chop here. So I really wouldn't be chasing it to the long side or the downside here, only in terms of structural plays, not looking for short-term plays inside that range. Again, this week I keep a very close eye on Euro CHF. Any weakness, keep in mind the SMB is going to be very interested. And again, I think the USD CHF is a very interesting one coming into this resistance here, right? We'll have to see how this trades, but this is going to be a very interesting resistance. And then we've got some key support right here that looks like it may be attracting, right? On any kind of bid tones coming in on CHF. We'll have to wait and see. But again, bottom line, an awful lot of uncertainty going into this week. The data calendar is very busy. There's going to be a lot of geopolitical risk. There's going to be a lot of a lot of wheeling and dealing across the board on the news channels, on Twitters. Just try and stay solid, try and stay grounded. Don't try to be a hero. And let's see what happens. Again, I'm going to cut this short. Still wanted to put something out there. Again, I hope everybody's safe, and thoughts going out to everybody involved in the events over the weekend, guys. Have Have a whatever great, good rest of the day you can have, and I'll see you guys on Twitter. Okay, bye bye. Thanks for listening.